Hello everyone, it's Sarah Yip, the Numbers Queen. I have been really inspired this week by some clients and by actually going into some, early contractions for my next baby to write this post. And it's about a very common question I'm asked, which is, when will I have a baby? Or when will my next baby be? And even why do some people have miscarriages? What happens to babies when you abort them? Those are really delicate questions, and so I hope that you find this blog helpful. So let's get started. I'll just be reading off the post and also elaborating today. So here's a spiritual look at, conception, miscarriage, and self-healing. There's a really good reason I studied holistic counselling and a lot of other courses after becoming a psychic in Brisbane. I'm often asked incredibly personal questions, things people don't even tell their partners, their loved ones, or even admit to themselves. It comes out in the readings with me. So it's one thing, to confirm someone's life purpose and to look at their forecast, which is something you can also do for yourself on my website. I've got links in the post. But, it's quite another level to comfort someone and to really sit with them when they're going through a breakup, if they're worried about infertility, if they're trying for a baby or if they've lost a baby. That's really big stuff. As I wrote in a previous article about karmic debt, psychic ability is not always linked to spiritual maturity, which is your character. All therapists need to work on themselves, sometimes twice as hard as other people, to make sure they don't project their stuff onto their clients. I read for hundreds of people a year. I have done for several years, and many of them are parents or parents in waiting. So what I'm talking about today, it is based on actual stories and experiences. It's not just theory. You may like to have a look at my posts on the palmistry markings for healers. Again, that's in the blog. So just as an introduction, really briefly looking at my story, there's this amazing quote: "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek," and that's by Joseph Campbell, a very wise 7 life path. I was absolutely terrified of being a mother, and by working through that fear, my entire life has opened up. So, I can really truly say, go there, go where you are scared. It will be your greatest freedom. I am currently the mother of one son, very cute little boy called Forrest, who's 17 months. I fell pregnant to my soulmate and husband, Chris Anderson, who's also a tarot reader, after recovering from anorexia/orthorexia, which is where you try to eat really, really healthy, to extremes. And I also had a lot of other challenges. I had ovarian cysts. I've had painful periods my whole life. I was really frightened of being pregnant and letting go. But during my labour, I actually had a lot of 11:11 signs. We were very fortunate, to have a natural water birth, which was inspired by positive visualizations and also chocolate cake. And after reluctantly weaning Forrest at 9 months, which was due to illness and also my work was picking up, I fell pregnant with my second child, Charlie, and he's due in about 6 weeks. So that took about a week for me to fall pregnant, and that was a lot earlier than we had planned. I should have known because I saw a little baby on my shoulder that night. But, we're very excited. Charlie's very welcome because we really like being parents. And it's interesting, at the time I fell pregnant with my second child, I'd just done a quantum healing retreat with Hong Curly at the Ascension Mastery weekend with Angela Hrunick. And I'd also done a writing retreat with Heather Plett. So there were a lot of lifelong dreams. And I was on a real high when I fell pregnant. I think that is one of the secrets, which I'll be talking about today. I was really fired up about life. I was full of life, literally. I'm now 34 weeks pregnant, and there's a nice little photo in the blog of Forrest and I having our favourite turmeric latte from the organic markets. So look, let's get into the actual topic. So here's one of the biggest questions I get asked, and It's when will I have a baby? And for some people, who already have a kid, they'll say, when is my next baby coming? Will I ever have a next baby? And, some people say things like, oh, just tell me yes or no, just tell me how many. That's not how I work. Some psychics may go there, but I just feel that's so limiting on you, and it's not the whole truth. So my truthful answer to you is it really depends on a lot of factors. It includes your free will, the environment, your soul's needs, your partner's soul's needs, the world's needs. Over the years, I've heard these horror stories of psychics telling people, oh, you'll never have children, oh, your children will die before you, which is something I was told. It was pretty horrific. There's a post on that I linked to. Although I believe there are no coincidences and that we're told what we need to hear to evolve, whether we follow that or not, I very much avoid scaring people with this kind of black and white predictions just to appear all-knowing or absolute. I truly believe that is the wrong way to inspire people. So as someone who has studied agriculture and environmental science before they did palmistry numbers, this is what I believe. Look after the garden and the trees will fruit when they're ready. If you're healthy, you increase your odds of falling pregnant. If your partner is healthy, even better. That's why I wrote my post on holistic fertility, which is in the blog. It's all about just filling yourself up. As you build your chi, as you build your life force, your vibration, you build and increase your choices. The universe loves you. It's more likely to send in a baby if you've got energy to spare. It's just like the bank is more likely to approve your mortgage application if you have a deposit. For every step you take, the universe takes two to meet you. So if you were CEO of the world, would you promote someone who's sick? Or would you, upgrade someone who's full of beans? Of course, you choose the second person. You don't want to cause more problems. And that's how I see the world kind of working. So how do you build your chi? How do you raise your vibration? There's so many ways. But basically by taking the path of self-love, the path of the heart, the path of least resistance, and greatest energy. So if you eat food that's grown out of season, it's forced to be produced under lights and through chemicals. If you eat lots of sugar, you're guzzling coffee to stay awake because you're not getting enough sleep, because coffee really only works if you're sleep deprived. If you're staying in a job you hate, if you're around people you don't like, you probably overspend your money just to distract yourself. No wonder you don't have a lot of energy left to be creative, to have a baby, because your hormones, your thyroid, your body clock, they're likely to be a bit out of whack. Everything going into your life, it's just kind of screaming of scarcity. So I'm really into starting small, take up a hobby, meditate, your time is your power, try yoga, turn off your phone, have an early night, try a natural diet or start cooking, save some money, and even investing in like an energy healing or past life regression. You'd be surprised how quickly things can turn around. I really believe healing is always possible. So I've mentioned her a few times, but Dinasa Khan, getting healing with her after this, which is cool. She works with many couples who want to fall pregnant. She also treats me, my family, my babies. I believe I fell pregnant again so quickly, mainly because I had a really good first birth, like really supported, but also because I have a lot of people around me helping me. I have really good family support, a very open-minded and hands-on partner. I have a lot of therapists, counselors, a babysitter, and it's taken a lot of work to bring that in and keep that going, but it means sort of now I can relax and I can just focus on what I really want to do. I also consciously associate with people who enjoy kids. They like juggling their family rather than workaholics. It's really hard to be the odd one out. if you're surrounded by people who are a bit anti-parenting or they haven't resolved their stuff, you can see why it would be hard, again, to fall pregnant. It's like going against the status quo. I hope that makes some sense. Okay, so let's keep going. I think what helps as well is, resolving some of your parenting issues. That does take time and effort, but it's absolutely worth it. You don't want to die with that pain still within you, right? I've got a whole post on forgiving your parents. It's like kind of like my lifetime's work in some ways. Some people believe it's also important to look at your own birth experience. I know when I was giving birth at the very end through transition, I felt a bit stuck, and it's interesting from memory, I think that happened to me when I did come in. So just to sort of explore those things maybe before you fall pregnant or during the process of your pregnancy, just sort of makes your life easier when you get to the finish line. So essentially, I just sort of done a lot of homework, and that's why they say, the race is often won before it's begun. So when it came to having a second child, it was like, why not rather than why? I didn't really have to justify it to the people around me or to myself. Now, that said, say you don't have another baby or you don't have a baby, just because a tree doesn't have fruit, just because a rose bush doesn't flower, it's not a reason to cut it down or to judge it. We all have intrinsic value. All living beings have intrinsic value. We all help in different ways. Like a tree might not make apples, but it could be incredibly beautiful. It could provide shade. You know what I mean? It's about the ecosystem. So beauty comes in all forms. It's not just about fitting into those stereotypes. I have this whole article on, your inner child and past lives. Some people come here to have lots of physical babies. Others, they're taking a break. They're having a holiday. They maybe didn't have contraception in those other lives, and they're here to focus on other things. For example, their career, their soulmate, their spiritual growth, their writing, their music. So, I'm thinking of people like David Pramal and Miten. They don't have kids, but their music is just incredible. Just as a side note, so I work a lot with timings. And I do find a lot of people have babies on or even after their life path turning point, which I also call your peak age in numerology. That is the sum of your date of birth reduced. You can have a look on my website to figure that out. But even then, that's not a guarantee. As a Master 2911, I did discover numerology at 29. Someone gave me a book that changed my life. And I went through a breakup and career change pretty soon after that. But it still took me a while. I didn't give birth until 35. And, having worked with a lot of 11s, I actually know now that's pretty common. Okay. So there's another tricky question I will get sometimes. And it's, why did I miscarry? Why did this baby not stay? Is there something wrong with me? Not easy to answer, but essentially you miscarried because you miscarried. I mean, not trying to be obtuse or confusing, just to keep you really present. Because when you stay present, you stay powerful. So a true psychic's job, it's not to give you those glib answers. It's to help you maintain a high vibration so you can continuously find your own solution. So you stay confident as a being. You stay connected. Yes, you could have miscarried because you, your partner, the world, your baby wasn't ready. But it's also possible you volunteered to help an advanced soul to finish its incarnations on Earth. Until you specifically talk to Spirit, the answers may not be clear. So I've got this post on psychic babies, and I say they're not meant to sleep. They're here to wake us up. Like you and I, baby spirits are entire beings. They've got many lifetimes behind them. Although they may feel discouraged if you miscarry, abort, or turn them away, they do have spirit guides to counsel them as well. Just trust that they'll be okay in the long run. And just to mention, a lot of people have told me, and I've also read, their children say things to them, often at the ages of maybe 2, 3, or 4 before they get, I guess, reprogrammed. They say things like, "Mummy, I tried to come in, but you said no, so I had to wait," or "I let my brother come in first so he could clear the way." And there's this lovely book called Children's Past Lives by Carol Bowman you could look at. I also believe that babies can be reallocated to other parents, no harm done. A bit like airplanes being directed by air traffic control to land on alternative runways. And just as a note, I don't do so much mediumship, although I do love working with babies where possible in readings. But I do have my friends Vicky Haspels and Caroline Bird. I've mentioned them a few times on my blog. They are very good at connecting with spirit. Alternatively, you could read books like Spirit Babies by Walter Macachan and connect in your own way. Remember, we're all one energy. You are just as powerful as me and vice versa. Everything you say is heard by your soul, your spirit guides, your potential babies. That's why prayer is really, really powerful, especially prayer said out loud. Look, the final question I'm going to mention in this fairly brief talk is, how can I avoid miscarrying again? That's kind of that million-dollar question, isn't it? My answer is you can't avoid anything for sure, but you can take steps to boost your odds of success. So, I've answered a lot about how to raise your vibration in Reiki. I also personally like acupuncture, maybe because I'm Chinese. There are a billion, Chinese people on the planet. There's something in Chinese medicine. I'm a really big fan of fertility yoga, prenatal and postnatal yoga, which I'm going to at the moment. So there's a lovely group called Yoga Baby, run by Susie, who's another 11 in Brisbane. I'm a big fan of bushflower essences. For example, I've got the woman essence at the moment because I've been feeling pretty emotional. I wanted to balance that. So you've got a lot of, fairly inexpensive and accessible things you can do. I think it's also important to really connect to your why for having a baby and to the baby's spirit. Having a child to keep a relationship together, I tried to do that with someone else and it did not work. And I think it's because it just puts a lot of pressure on everyone. It's like it wasn't coming from a place of abundance, it was coming from a place of fear. And that is something that I really encourage you to just look at deeply within yourself. Because a wish from the heart, it comes true much faster than one from the head. So you really need to, I guess, just truthfully look at your intentions and clear up any baggage. As they say, your unfinished stuff goes to your kids. Another question I'd ask is, how can you love yourself no matter what your results? Because it really is an illusion that a baby, a partner, a job, a lower weight, good health, more sleep, anything external, that can make you permanently happy. Just walk onto the street and you're going to see parents who are just as grumpy as non-parents, right? So in conclusion, there's this lovely quote, "Smooth waters do not make for skillful sailors." And you came here to be a skillful sailor, to really bring your relationship with yourself out into the open waters. Everything that happens to us, it has that capacity to really heal us at the deepest level and to teach us more trust. The only difference between a peaceful person and a stressed one is how they're choosing to think and to act. As long as you're on Earth, you're going to have these problems to solve. And it's like, choose problems that are worthy of you. That's something I learned at Landmark, which is quite controversial, and I've written about their courses. There's a link in the blog. Whether you're focused on having a baby, raising a baby, or healing from the loss of a baby or child, just know you're always worthy of joy. You're always divinely supported. Infertility, including secondary infertility, like that difficulty having more kids, it's not your true nature. It's just something you're experiencing right now in order to trigger your growth. So take a breath, ask for a sign, feel the goosebumps. That's spirit saying, whatever you do, wherever you go, we will follow you. You know, you are an eternal being, and this is only the beginning of your next chapter. So I just want to say thank you to the many people who inspired me to write this post. It's been brewing for a while, as usual, with me. So Tanya Nicole, Alex Blackie's blog, Mother First. She writes about secondary infertility. Also, I read quite a bit about Mary Kustas, who was Effie in Acropolis now. She had 23 IVF attempts and used donor eggs to have her daughter Jamie. I was really touched by that. I hope you've enjoyed this very specific and very personal post on fertility. Please have a wider look at my blog if you're interested. I've got heaps on there, all from personal experience and based on, you know, client stories. And yeah, this is Sarah Yip, the Numbers Queen. Very honoured to be able to talk to you again. And I just wish you all the best. And let me see if I can get the angle right this time. Charlie also says thank you and hello and goodbye. So until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.